Now, the crisis in the Darfur region of Sudan is getting increasingly severe. Over 200,000 people have died and over 2 million people are now refugees. Well, I recently went to the West African country with a London charity, which is one of the few humanitarian aid agencies left in what is in effect a war zone. They face the threat of rebel forces and the Janjaweed militia, who've been blamed by many for the mass slaughter of innocent lives. Life for the locals in Al Janina has never been easy, but with civil war on their doorstep, their population in recent years has doubled. Refugees flocked to the area as their often ransacked and burnt out villages were destroyed by the Janjaweed militia who've swept across the region. It only takes a short drive through Al Janina to see the former Janjaweed in their traditional headwear standing guard with soldiers. It's an image which instills fear in refugee camps. Camps like Darfur, where 7,000 people rely on aid from the London-based charity Islamic Relief, one of the few charities keeping their presence in the area.
It's quite an intense environment. The bureaucracy is very heavy, the environment very tense. Our aid workers are really pushed to the limit. It's these kind of environments that really push us to the breaking point.
The need for aid in Darfur has never been greater for the 2 million refugees here, and yet the number of aid workers in the area has actually dropped by around 20% since last year. That's largely because of the security situation getting worse. A number of aid workers have been shot and killed, and they're regularly attacked. In fact, this is probably one of the most dangerous places in Africa to be in. Despite that, the number of refugees waiting to get into camps like this has actually increased over the last year by over 500,000. There's a general sense of tension and fear in the camp. It's common for bandits and rebel groups to free. Another new risk comes from Al-Qaeda, who are thought to be in the area. The situation has got so bad, even senior British diplomats in Sudan admit all sides are now to blame for the ongoing trouble in Darfur. The work of Islamic Relief and other charities is becoming more essential as food is in short supply. Food parcels are packed in dedicated warehouses paid for by money from the UK, much of it from the capital.
London is one of the most generous communities in the United Kingdom, and their generosity that we've received in our right hand over here and taken it across in our left hand to the people over here is of immense value. It is the generosity of people of London that has kept this operation alive.
Now, while we've been filming, we noticed some of the members of the refugee camp getting a little bit nervous. It was because there was a member of the Janjaweed on horseback who I got talking to. He said that it was the people here who were at fault for the unrest. He said that it was the people here who started attacking the Janjaweed when they lived out in their settlements, and all the Janjaweed were doing was an act of self-defense by fighting back. And he says it's that what drove these refugees into the area. Refugees like Hal have a different story. She's lived in one room for years after 6 members of her family were killed by the Janjaweed. She's still scared of them as they come into the camp at night. Her friend has been raped. Can you tell us what happened when the Janjaweed came that day?
The Janjaweed came and took our livestock one day before returning in the evening when they shot as many people dead as they could. They took everything.
Whilst I spoke to Hal, I hadn't realised that a member of the Janjaweed had quietly stood behind me as he listened to everything Hal had to say. Afterwards, Hal said she was extremely frightened, but she wanted to tell the world what was happening. For many children in Darfur, fear is all they've known, but at least for now they can still rely on a London charity willing to take the extreme risks involved in getting aid out to those who need it. And you can read more about my trip to Darfur on our website, and that's at the usual address.